good, y'all? We back with another video, man. How y'all doing? Great today. Today we got structural demolitions going horribly wrong. So I'm guessing this is a combination of like people trying to tear down a building and something bad happened. I don't know though. I was 4 years old. Let's get into the video.
From a 200-foot tower left standing after a powerful blast and a stubborn bridge that just won't come down, to a massive smokestack falling the wrong way and an abandoned fire station collapsing without warning. Here are 7 structure demolitions gone horribly wrong.
I was subscribed to Underworld, bro. Annie.
Sioux Falls is the most populated city in South Dakota. It's also the former home of the Zip feed mill, which once stood as the tallest occupiable structure in South Dakota from its construction in the 1950s to its attempted demolition in 2005. Now we say attempted because things didn't go according to plan. On December 3rd of 2005, a crowd gathered to watch the Zip Tower crumble. Instead, they got a memory that would last forever in Sioux Falls history.
Oh man, bro. That's crazy, bro. Like, how do you blow some up and it just still laying on top? I mean, it just
silence sets in amongst the crowd as they wait for the Zip Tower to blow. Explosives detonate around the building's base, and it falls 1 story. But that is where it stays. The crowd laughs as the Zip Tower refuses to come down. Even the birds weren't scared away by the pathetic explosion. So why didn't the Zip Tower fall? Well, according to local reports, the Zip Tower was just really well built. The blast caused the lower part to fall into its own basement, and the whole tower just leaned to one side. Demolition crews spent
I guess they did do a good job building the building.
The Zip with a crane and a wrecking ball.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to use a wrecking ball, bro.
It's a game changer.
You're gonna have to.
East Bend, North Carolina is a small town of just over 600 people. Apparently, good help is hard to come by if you're trying to tear down a cement silo. An East Bend couple hired 2 dudes and their backhoe to tear down this old silo. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned.
They gonna land on a house or something. Oh, that bitch landed on the house. I knew it. I knew it, bro. Wait, that's their house? Oh, man.
The bucket extends as far as it can and kisses
Why do they even do it from that way? Because you know what could slip.
Gently, so slow that it's almost hard to notice. Then the silo collapses and falls the wrong way, crashing into the white house behind it. The woman's gasp says it all. It's not uncommon for demolition crews to use heavy machinery to take down buildings. Other than backhoes, they'll use bulldozers, cranes with wrecking balls, and concrete crushers. Of course, those crews are trained professionals. We'll go out on a limb and say these 2 guys were just, well, 2 guys with a backhoe.
Nah, for real. I don't think they know what they were doing for real.
Surat is a city on the west coast of India and sits on the banks of the Arabian Sea. They're one of the largest urban areas in western India and are responsible for 90% of the world's diamond cutting, which explains why they're often called India's Diamond City. The city has grown rapidly in the past decades, meaning old buildings must be torn down to make way for new, modern structures. A 30-year-old fire station, specifically the residential quarters, stood in the way of a new metro rail project. In September of 2021, they finally tore it down.
Oh, all that smoke. Yeah, bro, man got out the way faster. He won't really, man. He got caught for some fires.
A
He got no
jackhammer
mask
attached to
on.
the excavator drills away at one of the cement support beams. Two men are standing too close for comfort, which tells us that they don't expect the building to come down. The heavy machine moves to the next pillar, and right before it starts smashing, the whole structure comes tumbling down, sending the two men running from the dust cloud.
He wasn't even
Props to
running
the
for
guy
it.
who keeps
He
a
just
straight
walking
face
fast.
the whole time. According to the Times of India, the dust cloud was way bigger than expected. Visibility fell to zero, and panic set in as traffic had to stop on both sides of the road. Thankfully, nobody got hurt when the building fell. An official said they'd look into the situation to see if there was any negligence on the contractor's part. Otherwise, they never received any complaints about the demolition. They plan to rebuild the fire station and residential complex to abide by modern Diamond City standards.
Dang, bro.
Pell City is a small city in northern Alabama, founded in the late
So all these small
1800s by a
cities having big
railroad
buildings,
investor
they trying
named
to crash.
George Pell. Around this time, a series of textile factories called the Avondale Mills went up all over the state, employing thousands of Alabamians. One of the Avondale buildings acted as a notable landmark in Pell City for over a century. The mill officially closed in 2006, when the company had to eliminate 2,000 jobs across 6 Alabama plants. Then, a fire destroyed most of the mill in 2008. The story takes another turn in November of 2015, when a demolition team failed not once, but twice to blow up the old Avondale smokestack, a 158-foot structure that stood for 113 years.
I jumped him fall right on his head. And he done, folks. Like, he lucky that Jones on top, boy. If he ain't no top, boy, yeah, I know he dead, boy, on me. He might still be good though. He probably had fun. He probably, let's do it again. Let's do it again. You don't know how they act, boy.
Yeah, he appears fine.
You can see where the initial blasts failed to bring down the century-old tower. That's when Tim Filfer and his backhoe went in to clean up the job. He starts digging at the side, ideally trying to make the smokestack fall away from him. It finally collapses, but things turn ugly when it falls right on top of Tim. Rescue workers rush onto the scene as the dust clears. Thankfully, Tim made it out okay. Now, according to Tim, they hit the smokestack with a 32-pound charge around 9 a.m., but all it did was leave a hole in the 2.6 million pound structure. They hit it again an hour later, but the explosion only weakened the base. That's when he decided to go in with the backhoe.
Dang, bro. At least he got it able to get it down.
Unlike East Bend, North Carolina, about 6.5 million people live in Shangrao, a prefecture-level city in Jiangxi province, China. Unfortunately, Jiangxi has had a few too many demolition accidents in recent years. On July 29th of 2018, a demo crew in Shangrao arrived at an old abandoned building. We can assume it was on its last legs, and tearing it down should have been a piece of cake. But the crew grossly miscalculated which way a 5-story building would fall after they got started.
Oh, jump, boy. That jump just falling anywhere.
The building crumbles right on top of the excavator, and the arm goes clean through the 4th floor window. We get a closer angle of the accident as a massive cloud of dust fills the street. A quick glimpse of the aftermath hints that the excavator is okay. But what about the driver? Reports indicate that he made it out in time and didn't suffer any injuries. As for
Oh,
which
so
way
he
the
made it
building
out.
was
Okay.
supposed to
Okay,
fall,
that's good.
we can't say for sure. Reports from
He
China
ain't
are
look like he
limited
made
about
it
the
out,
accident
boy.
itself.
I swear he ain't like he made it out.
Ahmedabad is the 5th most populated city in India, with just over 6.3 million people, putting them on par with
Dang, bro,
Toronto
what's
and
up with all these
Madrid.
million
They
people
were
living in one
selected as
city?
part of India's Smart
Let
Cities
them
mission,
live in no
which
big
aims
city
to
like that,
transform
bro.
cities across the country into what they call smart cities. Of course,
Why are the
this
houses all
requires
colorful
lots of
and
new
all,
buildings
bro?
and the tearing down of old, dilapidated structures. One of those structures
House
was
is
an
all
old water tower
beautiful
in the
and
Chandkida
blue and
district.
purple
The
and
plan
green
was
and yellow
simple:
ones on.
tip the tower into the wide open area and clean up. But that's not what happened.
Dang, bro. Who's screaming?
પેલા એમના ઘર ઉપર પડી
Oh,
મમ્મી
she having fun out there.
પેલા મરાઠીને ઘર ઉપર પડી તોડ નાખ્યું પાછળથી બધું એ
Don't know what bromance talking about. I better pay translator on. I don't know.
You can see a flimsy piece of rope or wire pulling on the tower as our camera operator gets a good vantage point. The tower gives way at the bottom, but falls towards the house directly behind it. The spiral
At least it didn't-
staircase
at least it didn't-
crumbles like paper as the structure
At least
collapses
he didn't land
and
on top of the house,
implodes.
though. It
A
could've been
woman
worse.
screams as the dust settles, and we cut to see the damage from the ground level. Somebody has some explaining to do. Believe it or not, this was the 3rd water tower to accidentally fall on someone's house in just
What?
1 month. According to the
Oh,
Times
nah,
of
bro.
India,
Oh, nah.
11 people
They
lived
turn
in the
down stuff
house
way
when they
too
were
often
told
now,
to
bro.
evacuate by the Ahmedabad
tweaking.
Municipal Corporation, or the AMC, the people in charge of knocking down these water towers. 55-year-old
That thing's
Eknath
probably rented
Shenki
them,
built
boys.
the house 2 years prior and lived there with his elderly parents and 8 other family members. He said the AMC just showed up and said they had to leave that afternoon. Hopefully, they compensated Eknath for the damage and gave his family a place to stay while he rebuilds.
Exactly, bro. You got to, or you getting sued. You gotta rebuild me, or you getting sued.
The first Broadway bridge used to span over the Arkansas River, connecting Little Rock and North Little Rock. The nearly 100-year-old arch bridge was built
Little
in
Rock, Arkansas.
1923 and demolished in October of 2016. However, that demolition didn't go quite as planned. A crowd gathered to say goodbye to the bridge they'd known all their lives. Meanwhile, a contractor made several cuts in the steel to pre-weaken the bridge. They placed enough explosive charges to bring the bridge down, or so they thought, and hightailed it to safety. What happened next quickly achieved meme status.
Hey. That dude is not good, but they ain't going nowhere. That bitch say, I ain't going down, man. No,
Okay, so now what?
he told me something. Shouldn't he be falling?
The crowd watches as everyone
Everybody
aims their
like, upper. I'd
cameras
have been
at the
like,
soon-to-be-gone
so
bridge.
what's going on?
We
Like,
see the
been not
explosion
falling to the
before
water,
hearing
like, what's
it,
going on?
but nothing else happens. People start laughing, and one guy asks the question on everyone's mind. Okay, so now what? The dust cloud blows away, and the Broadway Bridge is still
Try to blow that bit up
standing.
again.
According to the Arkansas Times, the bridge finally fell 5 hours later. Unfortunately,
Wow.
all anybody could do was sit around and wait. The weakened
5 hours
bridge
later.
still posed a big problem because nobody could go near it. It could fall at any time, so the waiting game was their only option. Denny Stresla,
Dang,
who
bro.
works for the Arkansas Highway and
That messed up.
Transportation Department, said the bridge was a testament to how solid the structure was. While the old bridge's destruction was delayed a few hours, the new Broadway Bridge opened several weeks ahead of schedule in 2017. Hopefully, it's just as sturdy as its predecessor. To see another video just like
Dang,
this
bro.
one, be sure to click the link on screen now.
But yeah, man, crazy demolitions going wrong. You know what I'm saying? Construction work is not really thinking thoroughly through the situation, what's going on. But man, hope you guys like the video, bro. Thank y'all for everything. See y'all tomorrow, man.